Welcome, everybody, to another edition of The Hurry Up. I'm your host, Adam. Let's get into this. So, I'm going right at it. The Giants need a quarterback. Stop futzing around, putzing around, telling me, get one next year, do this, do that. Lance Zierlein saying, well, the Giants don't need a quarterback, but the Raiders take one. Screw that shit. I'm tired of it. Giants need one. Take one. I don't want to hear about how bad this guy is. Tell me what good he can do. You have no idea. Everybody poo-poos the quarterbacks, and then all of a sudden comes back 3 or 4 years later and is like, oh, we got that wrong. We got that wrong. You look at the 2018 draft. If you were to redraft right now, first 2 picks are going to be Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, point blank, period. And then you probably get Baker Mayfield in there third in that draft. And then Sam Darnold maybe would be the 32nd pick. We say this all the time about quarterbacks. Oh, they don't like this guy. He's too short. He can't play here. It's about the coach you go to and the system that you're in. Okay? It really is. And I don't want to hear about, oh, well, these guys aren't this, these guys aren't that. We poo-poo this all the time. The Giants don't have the luxury to sit here and poo-poo any quarterback and kick it down the road. Well, let's go to 126. Okay, let's break the scenario down. Let's say we get Jameis Winston, Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford, any one of the number of quarterbacks that's been thrown out there that they think we can get. As a bridge quarterback, which the Giants have had one in Kerry Collins, I don't know. That worked out a little bit, but then we didn't have anybody, so we drafted Eli Manning. I get it. Well, let's use Jameis Winston, for example. The Giants already think they're going to win 4 games anyways. Jameis Winston can get you 2 wins, so that's 6 wins. So let's just say the Giants stumble on 6 wins. Then next year, what are we going to say when we're not in the position to get the top 3 quarterbacks? We're going to be like, well, the quarterbacks 4 through 7 aren't as good as this quarterback and that quarterback and blah, 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 so we can't take them. Same thing we're doing now. Trying to compare this class to last year's class. This class has nothing to do with last year's class. Just like the class before that had nothing to do with that class. Okay? Like, we don't know who's coming out next year right now definitively. We can guess. Sure, the quarterback class is good, blah, blah, blah. Then a guy transfers. Then a guy gets injured. Carson Beck. Prime example. He's going back now. He transferred. Archie Manning's not coming out for 4 years. We want to sit here and try to get that guy. He hasn't been starter for his team yet. And you know what's going to happen? When the Giants don't get the number 1 overall pick again, and we suck again, and we have no quarterback again, and we're doing the same song and dance again with the same fan base telling them, well, you can't, if you can't pick the quarterback at number 1, you got to go do this, go do this. Take a swing. Take a swing. I'm just tired of everybody trying to be a GM and overthinking it. It's not that hard. You take a quarterback. He stinks in 2 years, you take another quarterback. Look what the Pittsburgh Steelers did. They drafted Kenny Pickett 2 years later, he's out the door. Justin Fields, same thing, out the door. They gave him 3, they get out the door. And now all of a sudden, now we want to bring in Justin Fields. Ooh, let's bring in Justin Fields. Why? Why wouldn't we just want our own guy to see? No, we got to bring in Justin Fields, who's done nothing in the NFL except run the football. But we want to bring him in because all of a sudden magic. Why? Because Brian Daboll can do quarterbacks. So why don't you get him one in the damn draft? Oh, but resources. I don't want to trade resources. But you gladly would not trade resources for a quarterback in this draft to then trade resources to go get a guy like Matthew Stafford or Kirk Cousins. Make it make sense to me. You want a guy, 2 guys in the back 9 of their careers whose careers more over than beginning? Because of what? Because of Matthew Stafford who's going to come here where everyone tells me we have nothing on the team. We can't possibly draft a quarterback because we have nothing on the team. But we want to go spend assets on 2 guys that can't even fucking move. Make it make sense to me. I don't understand why this fan base and even drafters like Lance Zierlein don't want to marry us to a quarterback. And if the Giants don't marry themselves to a quarterback, you might as well fire Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, which you should have done on Black Monday. You should have fired them right after the draft. Period. Oh, but I don't want to make the picks. So you rather have him go blow up because Matthew Stafford's going to cost you a first-round pick. Period. They're not going to, you're going to, at some point, you're giving up something. You can tell me, oh, Aaron Rodgers, they gave up a lot of picks for Aaron Rodgers. For a team that they thought was a quarterback, quote unquote, away. It just makes no sense to me that the Giants and the Giant fan base who sat through 6 years of hell with Daniel Jones now all of a sudden think that they know quarterbacks and are like, well, these guys aren't good. How do you know? Same people were telling me the same things about C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young. Same people were telling me, hey, we need to get Will Levis. He's going to be good. Last year, we couldn't take Bo Nix, J.J. McCarthy, or Michael Penix Jr. because they're not the top three guys. And they ended up doing well. You never know who's going to do well. The draft is an absolute crapshoot. But we, the Giants, want to keep drafting players. I'm glad we got Malik Nabers. I'm glad we got 3 wins with Malik Nabers. I'm glad we had that. 3 wins. So now you want to draft a guy like a Travis Hunter. And what, get 6? So you can have a perfect quarterback scenario? Guess what? If you're not the first pick in the draft, you ain't getting the best quarterback in the draft. You're getting what's left over. It's up to you as coaches to put that guy in the right situation. So if you happen to get Shedeur Sanders, draft him. Let him go. The Giants are in the top 10. Every year we go, we don't want to be in this position again. And we're in the same fucking position. And we don't do the same fucking shit. In year 2018, we drafted Barkley because we don't want to be in the same position again. To only find out that we were in the top 6, not to get Kyler Murray in the draft and settle for Daniel Jones, who didn't work out. It wasn't the problem of drafting Daniel Jones. The problem was keeping that motherfucker for 6 fucking years and not drafting anybody behind him to groom. You look at these other teams, they put stock in their backup quarterback. Do the Giants? Nope. We could have Tyrod Taylor. Nope, we didn't want to pay him. Too bad. We want to go for a lesser talent. We could have Jameis Winston last year. Nope. We'll take Drew Lock, who's done nothing in the NFL. We'll do that because we're here sitting here coddling fucking Daniel Jones. And we have nobody on the roster. You can't tell me Tommy DeVito is even a lock to make the roster this year. He'll be signed, but he ain't even a lock to make the roster. And we still have people sitting here like, well, I don't want to take a quarterback. Get a bridge guy. What does a bridge guy do? Lead you to 6 to 7 wins till you're always back in 8 to 15 picking? That's where you want to be? Like, it makes no sense. Make it make sense. Let's get a bridge guy to hope that we have, with nobody on the roster, to hope that we win some games. People are so addicted to winning that they get blinded by the fact that to win, you need good quality quarterback play. And we don't have any of that. And then you want to bring in a guy like Winston or Kirk Cousins or this to only fall short of the teams in front of you. Because you now have the Commanders who have endless amounts of money to spend and, oh, by the way, have their quarterback. You have the Philadelphia Eagles who are in the Super Bowl. And you have the Cowboys who are going to retool and re-gear up for their run. But we want to sit here and say, well, let's bring in an aging veteran in Matthew Stafford. Giants aren't like that. You don't have a team around you. You're in rebuild mode. That's the problem. Is the Giant fans are just like the dumb GM. We want to compete and rebuild at the same time. You got to do one or the other. Oh, well, you can't build a team with her. Yes, you can. You can draft a quarterback and free agency starts. Bring in your guys then. You can also sit the kid for a year. You don't have to throw him out there right away. You can draft the guy, secure the goods, allow him to develop behind somebody, and then when the time is right, you can put him in there. You already have him in-house. Look at the Green Bay Packers did. Hell, even the Kansas City Chiefs, they had a guy that was a bridge quarterback for them, and they drafted a guy. They went up to go get their guy. But we're the Giants. We're too good to do any of that. We're the fan base. Well, Shedeur Sanders is not the guy, blah, blah, blah. Give me a break. Give me a break. Well, I studied film, and I know that Jackson Dart is going to be a bad quarterback because blah, 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 blah. No, you don't. You have no idea. You have no idea if those guys are going to be good. None. I don't know if they're going to be good, but I know that they're a decent prospect. So yeah, let me bring them in and see what their career holds. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, this guy's Daniel Jones and blah, 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 and this, that. No, enough is enough. You take the quarterback, you roll with it, and you let it go. I don't want to bring in retreads and do this to push it back to hope to get Arch Manning when the Giants don't even tank. Everybody else in the league tanks but the Giants. You think the next coach is going to come in, whoever that may be, and be like, you know what? I'm going to tank the first year. Because we've seen guys get one and done. So now you're going to take a coach who's coming in here who has no quarterback, right? Who's finished 6-10 with no quarterback on this roster. You fire them, you bring them in. They're not going to trade assets for next year to get their guy. And here we are. Because we didn't want to take a swing. We didn't want to move up and get a guy and take a chance. Meanwhile, everybody in the NFL does it, but the Giants. And we have nobody here to be like, let's rest our hats and make it. You know the year you should have traded? Last year. When people wanted quarterbacks and they wanted to come up and you didn't. You took a luxury pick in Malik Nabers. And now you want to sit here and say, well, the Giants should trade out and trade back and up and get their quarterback. You want to do all these fun and games when you had a guy sitting there. But now I have to jump through hoops to get a quarterback because people aren't happy with who they are. Oh, well, it's Shedeur Sanders. I like Cam Ward. I like this guy. Just take the quarterback. If he ends up being good, we're not going to worry about what we gave up for him. And all these other quarterbacks that we talk about, oh, well, you can find a quarterback in the 6th round. You can find a quarterback. Do the logic and do the math. Drew Bledsoe, Tom Brady, they had a starter. Matt Flynn, Russell Wilson, they had a starter. Tony Romo, Dak Prescott, they had a starter. They invested in the quarterback position. They had no idea those guys were going to be starters. None. They happened to work out, but they had no idea they were going to work out. None. You people ain't got to understand. Look around the league. Okay, they drafted Jalen Hurts. They had Carson Wentz on the roster already. They drafted him just because they liked him in the 2nd round, take a flyer on the guy. They had no idea he would bring them to the Super Bowl 2 times in his years being there. They drafted him because they needed a quarterback and they hoped to develop a guy. But you go over there and you look at all these other quarterbacks out there. How's Sam Howell working out? I know people get on my back about that guy, but how's he working out in the 5th round? We can enjoy prospects. Guys are going to come and go. They're going to suck. You can be excited about them coming in. The Giants have no quarterback on the roster to even speak of. And all these quarterbacks in the free agency market aren't that good. And I personally don't want to trade for a guy like a Matthew Stafford or Kirk Cousins when the team has nothing on the roster. So you want to bring in a veteran. Why? So you can have a couple meaningless wins and be 15 instead of just building the roster with a quarterback and the free agency? Because guess what? If you trade for Matthew Stafford, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. That's what you're doing. Because you're going to give up assets for a guy who's not coming in. When you can try and get a guy in this, and you can give up an asset, fine. You know why people give up assets in the draft for a guy like Kirk Cousins? Because they think that they can win right away. The Giants aren't in that position. But the same people want to give up assets don't want to do the same thing in the draft to get a quarterback. That's worth a grain of salt. Oh, well, I don't want to do that. I'd rather have the guy fall to me. What? Be aggressive. Go get him. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Oh, but Adam, the argument of if he wins the Super Bowl, it's not going to matter about the draft. That's a whole argument. That's a weak argument. No, it's not a weak argument. It's an argument that is actually valid. But you don't want that argument to be your point because it defeats the purpose of the argument of arguing for a quarterback. I hear that all the time. Oh, I don't want to take a quarterback because none of these guys are good. They're not good. How do you know in the NFL they're not going to be good? We already try to predetermine guys' careers. There's been countless busts who have been, looks like surefire things in the NFL draft. Of receivers, of players, of whatever that have been absolute busts. But they don't get the same treatment the quarterbacks do. No. Kajana Carter could be a bust as a running back, right? And they just move on from him. Curtis Enis, another one. Plenty of guys, you can go up and down the list of guys who've been busts that they've moved on from. First round busts. But we're sitting here poo-pooing about a quarterback. Y'all need to go get your head checked out. Okay? Because if Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, whomever the case may be, comes in here and starts winning goddamn games, you're not going to worry about what asset you gave up to get that guy. You're like, damn, we got a good quarterback. Thank God we got this guy. This has been another edition of the Hurry Up. I'm your host, Adam. Let's get in. I'll see you next time.